My name is Connie Lucio. I'll be presenting. I'm the Fulfillment Fund College Counselor.
I'm Veena Rao. I'm an intern with the Fulfillment Fund. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jamie Ramirez. I'm the College Access Advisor for 9th grade at Sava and 9th through 11th grade at Hamilton High School. So welcome.
So learning new skills. There was a quote in the beginning that I felt that it was relevant to this presentation because during the circumstances, learning, we never stop learning because life never stops teaching us. This is something that is right now we're currently dealing with, and I felt that it was, keep in mind that every day is a new day to learn something new, a new opportunity to learn something new. Today we'll cover creating balance, perspectives, learning new skills, exploring online resources. We would like to know how you're feeling, but for the most part is we honor your feelings. We understand that you may be upset about being away from your friends, your family members, not being in school. Know that your feelings are valid and understandable with the circumstances that we're currently dealing with. We are all dealing with this epidemic together, and we will overcome this pandemic together. What can you do about it? Well, finding a balance. Spend time on something to learn, new activities that you enjoy. This can include hobbies, listening to music, cooking, finding ways to keep yourself occupied, activities that bring you joy. Practice mindfulness. This means tune into your emotions and given any given moment and experience them without judgment. Then this allows us to move on and say, okay, so now what can we do about it? And so this allows us to move beyond our emotions. Looking at it from a different perspective. How are you spending time? How are you keeping busy? What are you grateful for? You can, if you would like to share right now in the chat box, you can share anything that you would want to about what are you grateful for, answering that question. So allow that for a few seconds, and then we'll have Veena share the students that mention what they're grateful for.
Miss Mari has said she's grateful for learning how to make whipped coffee. How exciting. I love that too. And I'm grateful for the weather. It's finally cooled down a bit so we can still enjoy the outdoors here in California. We've got people saying that they're being well and my family. I'm grateful for my parents for working. Miss Jamie has said she's grateful for her 3 dogs. Miss Lucio, I'm grateful for my family and health. And we've got someone else saying being closer to my family members. Those are all great things. And it's definitely like a way to handle the kind of circumstances we're in right now, is to look at it from that perspective. But we wanted to also move on to talk about certain practical skills that you can work on during this time. So one of the slides that we have for you next is asking if you can recognize some of the things that are on this slide. Oh, wait.
Yeah, so it's focusing on what you can control, what's under your control. Practicing self-care, keeping up with your academics, listening to music, spring cleaning, playing games. One example could be water balloon fight with your family, virtual hangouts with friends. It's important to take this opportunity right now during the circumstances to expand your knowledge, learn something new, learn from others, learn from your peers, of course, virtually. Consider ways to learn and grow. Learning something you aren't sure about, even something that would take you out of your comfort zone. Create a social media group, maybe a virtual band, study group. these are ideas that you can do right now that are under your control. Other things to consider is to maintain your health, get good sleep, eat nutritious foods, not just hot Cheetos. Not could be guilty of that. Eat something that you would keep up your immune system. Express your skills. Draw, paint, and create something that you will express your talents. Exercise. Now, we're allowed to hike, go outside, enjoy the weather. Consider hiking, bike riding, yoga, running. There are tons of videos you can actually access to on YouTube. There's apps through, one of them mentioned through the Nike app that's free and accessible to your phones mobilely.
So I don't know if you guys recognize the images, because some of them are relatively simple, like the scrambled eggs, but apparently there's a technique to making them. So there are videos on YouTube from different chefs on how to make the perfect scrambled eggs. The image on the top is a Spanish tortilla. I'd had a party once, and these friends of mine said they were bringing Spanish tortilla. I was wondering, like, what are you bringing like tortillas for? Well, it turns out it's a 4-ingredient dish that you can make simply with eggs, salt, potatoes, and onions. That's it. So, you know, it's a fabulous dish. It's really filling, but it's a great dish to kind of try out. And the other one's a mug cake, when you feel like a dessert for one. So one of the reasons why we're showing you this picture is to sort of talk about what you can do constructively during this time, which is learning how to cook. And so, you know, the question is, can you make perfectly scrambled eggs, or do you know how to make a poached egg? That was one of the skills that I just learned, was like learning how to poach an egg. And apparently the skill is that the technique is that you turn down the temperature after the egg goes in, and that's how it poaches itself perfectly. Mug cakes, like, you know, it's easy enough to do it in a mug and in the microwave, and it's done in less than a minute, for instance. One of the other things that you can do is have your family members connect with one another by asking them to put together a cookbook. So, for instance, I've asked my mom and her sisters to get together online and put together a family cookbook that my cousins and I can enjoy, and then we can pass on to our own kids later on. So that's really fun. And the other idea is, when you're going through cookbooks and videos online, create your own. Because once you can work on those cooking skills now, but you can also take the cookbook with you. So when you're on your own, you've got a repertoire of recipes that you can turn to that are all your own and that you enjoy making. So that's another idea for you. And in terms of, like, you know, recipes and stuff, there are tons of websites that you can turn to get great recipes. Food Network, whenever the shows are running, they've got simultaneously the recipes posted online. So that's a great way to, you know, look at something and then salivate over it as you're watching TV and say, oh, let me just get a copy of this recipe for myself. Epicurious.com is a compilation of different magazine recipes. Tasty.co has another set. Taste of Home is another one. Mealime is a phone app that gives you recipes, and then you can put together a shopping list to go get the ingredients for it, for instance. So there are like tons of, like, you know, places that you can turn to. My son has decided that he's watching like YouTube videos on cooking, and now he's the cooking expert. So he's always constantly trying to give me advice, even though he cooks very little. So just sort of like, you know, it's a fun hobby, I think, to sit and like watch other people cooking as well. Some of the other practical skills that you can work on at this point in time is learning how to sew. So, you know, if a hem comes loose, for instance, on a dress or a shirt, you know how to sew it. Or if a button falls off, you don't have to give the shirt away. You know, you can learn how to sew a button. And most of it comes with learning how to thread a knot, for instance. Fixing things around the house, if if something's leaking or something's creaking, putting up paintings, moving things around, great options for things to be doing around the house. Refurbishing old furniture. So if you've got a piece that you want to repaint or do something else with, make it look fresh and new, you can try that now, during your free time. And again, there are videos that accompany these kind of projects online for sure. Mow your lawn, mow a neighbor's lawn. That might be great to lend a helping hand to a neighbor. Plant some flowers, plant some vegetables. One of the reasons why I have that scallion photograph on the right is because I was making something with scallions last week, and then I chopped off that end. I'm not sure if I'm still on camera, but I planted it in a pot, and now I've got like scallions growing at home. The geranium is another like great plant. All you have to do is just take a twig of it off an existing plant and then put it in the soil, and it turns out it regrows. So, there we go. Now I've got a new geranium plant growing, for instance. So there are a great number of options that you can try. One of the things that all these suggestions that we're now giving you, we're gonna actually send it to you in a document right after this presentation is done. So there's a link actually to videos on how you can grow other things as well that we're going to send to you. The next slide talks about the idea of developing routines so that you find a way to find comfort within the circumstances we find ourselves. So the idea being that you stay in touch with your friends and your family. Make it a regular habit to FaceTime them, Zoom call them, just so that you're keeping in touch with everyone and not like losing those connections that you've made. It doesn't have to be any serious conversations. It could be doing it over homework or just having fun, like doing an online party game, having an online dance session. So if one of you is a DJ and has great music, play it, and all of you could, just have a little dance party at home. But it's just fun ways to stay connected. Some of the other options that we have are involve like doing something that takes you virtually online, but you learn something. So we've got a set of images. So what do these images have in common? The middle image is of the Sistine Chapel. So that's Michelangelo's painting of the Last Judgment. And then the paintings on the side are by Degas and Renoir. One of the reasons why we have this is to alert you to the fact that you could just be traveling online. If the Louvre in Paris has its entire Egyptian antiquities collection online for you to view. As I said, the Sistine Chapel, you can go in and view the entire ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and the side panels and stuff without any crowds being there. So normally if you went to the Sistine Chapel, there's barely enough room for people to breathe because there's so many people in the room. But now you've got an empty room and you get to view the painting on your own. The Guggenheim has its entire collection online. The Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam has some of Van Gogh's most famous paintings up online. And those paintings that I just showed you earlier of Degas and Renoir are from the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. So they've got a huge collection of Impressionist art. So they've got tons of paintings by Monet, Manet, Renoir, Degas, all on. Museum has its Egyptian tombs. So they basically transplanted this stuff from Egypt. So that stuff is there for you to view, as well as most of their collection. The British Museum as well has audio tours of their exhibits. So they've got a collection dating back centuries, but they've got audio to accompany the stuff that you're viewing, which is incredible. If you're not in the mood for a museum, then, the Smithsonian has its entire collection online. So you can go in and view fossils. The dinosaur fossils are there, mastodons. They've got exhibits dating back centuries of life in the US and in the Americas and stuff. So there's lots of stuff that you can see. Next slide. So the other traveling that you can do is, if you're not in the mood for any sort of museum whatsoever, is go to Yellowstone. Go to, you can get a virtual tour of the Great Wall of China, for instance, or even visit like animals at the zoo. So the next slide. So for instance, Yosemite and Yellowstone both have live cameras that they've set up for you to go and view the entire park. So you get 360 views of wherever it is the cameras are set up. You can stand and view. So, if you're just in the mood for just sort of some outdoor scenery, those are great places for you to visit. The Great Wall of China, it's the Jinshaling section of the Great Wall. So there's no one continuous wall, obviously, and it was built in chunks at natural barrier points. So this is one of the sort of sections of the wall that they've left relatively untouched, but it's wonderful that you can go and visit that now. I opened the cameras for the San Diego Zoo, and I was looking for giraffes. I couldn't find any, but I did see some tigers on their live cam. So it's a wonderful way to not leave your home but still be able to see things online. What else can you be doing? Well, you could read books. The libraries have downloadable books. So maybe try some books that you thought about reading earlier, genres you haven't tried. That's worth it to, just explore what else is out there. And then watch. There are plays online. So the National Theatre of London has Shakespearean plays up every week that you can, join and you can go and see. Andrew Lloyd Webber, who wrote The Phantom of the Opera, Cats, not all of his musicals are the same quality, but you can go and watch his plays. Each week they have a different production that you can watch for free online. But you can also do simple things like go for a walk with your family, go for a walk with your pets, with your dog. Write a letter or a card and mail it to a family member or a friend, just so that they can get to receive something tangible in hand from you and uplift their mood as well. So, and writing a letter and putting a stamp on it and mailing it is in itself a skill, because most of us don't do that anymore, since we usually spend our time texting or emailing one another. But, those are great skills that you can have. So what we wanted to do was find out if you've done or tried something new recently. Or is there something that you want to try that's on your bucket list once all your school responsibilities are over? Go ahead and share it in the chat box. So one of the things that I'd always wanted to make was this Victorian sponge. So I watch a lot of that Great British Bake Off. And so I tried that. Mine didn't look exactly like that, but it came close enough and it was delicious. So I wanted to share that. But does anyone have their thoughts about what you've been trying recently? We've got someone saying they wanted to read more books.
I felt this is a perfect opportunity to share me training my baby Zeus. He is a mixed terrier. So we're gonna see if this video can play. You can hear it, but it's me training Zeus with treats. Give it a second. So here I'm introducing Zeus with the treats. I allow him to smell them. And he doesn't, he likes the treats, but then he went back to the window. And then he saw the bag of treats. So this bag, I purchased it from Target and it's chicken flavor. I introduced him again to the treat. He smelled it, he got his attention. I gave him another treat because he remained sitting. I asked him to stay. As him give me high five, he kind of gave me a little high five, so I give him a little piece. He's a little stubborn. He's smart, but a little stubborn. So every time he showed a little improvement of his paw movement, I introduce him, I give him another treat. So there goes a high five. You can kind of see it, but he gave me a high five. So I gave him another treat. He's still holding on to that little paw. Handshake. And a treat. So it just takes practice, introducing the dog to the treats so you can be more motivated to continue giving me the high five with the handshake. I asked him here to lay down, but he didn't understand what I was asking him to do. So I had to do the hand movement to down, and he slowly got it, but he's still kind of sitting down. Give him a half a treat. It just takes practice. And yep, high five, there you go. He got the high five a little bit better. And a treat. So something that you can do, treating your dog, new tricks, something that they actually like, because I've tried other treats that were not really his favorite. I hope you enjoy the video. Next goes Jamie. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to switch gears for a little bit and talk a little bit more about different virtual activities and resources that you guys can all access during this time. And one thing that I want to ask you guys is if you guys knew that you can continue to build your resume and brag sheet from home during this time. So can I have the next slide, please? Thanks. Okay, so you might be wondering how you can continue to build your resume or brag sheet if almost everything is closed, right? Most of the activities that you were involved in have come to a halt during this time, especially, you know, in school. If you were involved in your community or things like that, everything has sort of come to a halt. But one thing we want you guys to keep in mind is that colleges will want to know how you are adapting to this quote unquote new normal that we are living in right now. Some universities have actually already started incorporating questions about this pandemic into their admissions applications. And they want to know how you coped with what is going on during this time. So try to keep busy. And so we want you guys to ask yourselves, how are you finding ways to keep busy during this time? Are you trying out new things? Are you participating in fulfillment fund activities? Wink, wink. Remember, we do have a scholarship that you can apply to during your senior year. We do take into consideration your participation and attendance to our various events and activities. So keep that in mind when you guys see an email from any of us, and just make sure you attend our different events. And we're gonna now provide you with some ideas that you can explore during this time. So most of the volunteering that you guys have done has probably been in person, right? That's the more traditional way of volunteering, just makes sense. However, since we are living in very special, unique times, we have here some volunteer opportunities that you can do online from home. So one of the first ones that I want to share with you guys is the Amnesty Decoders. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm only going to talk about a few because, as Ms. Vina mentioned earlier, she actually created a very useful and handy handout with tons of different things that you guys can do during this time. So when we send that out to you guys, make sure you give that a look. But let me talk about the Amnesty Decoders. So this is an opportunity for volunteers worldwide to use their computers and smartphones, to help locate and expose human rights violations. So If you are somebody who is interested in human rights, this may be an opportunity for you. Recently, they were working on a project where they exposed online abuse faced by women politicians in India, and they needed volunteers who spoke or speak and are literate in Bengali, English, Hindi. So if you speak any of those languages, you can definitely help and volunteer in this Amnesty Decoders project. Another thing you can do right now is the Learning Ally, the part of Learning Ally, which basically you help create audiobooks for students who are struggling readers. And it's really cool because a lot of teachers and parents can access different books to share with their students or children who are struggling. So if you are somebody who likes to help, I would really encourage you to check that out. Can we go to the next slide, please? Awesome. And now we're going to talk about Zooniverse. So Zooniverse is really neat because it provides an opportunity for anyone to assist with important research. You don't need any specialized background or expertise, and you'll be able to study things like faraway galaxies, historical records, diaries, and animals in their natural habitats. So if you're interested in maybe doing research or some investigations, this is a really great opportunity for you. And then we have other things here like foster or adopt shelter animals. I actually have a friend who is fostering dogs during this time. She actually gets to foster a dog for 2 weeks. And then while the shelter finds that particular dog a home, so during those 2 weeks, she allows the foster dog to kind of hang out with the doggies that she already owns. And she takes him to the vet and things like that, make sure that he's healthy and ready to be adopted by its new owners. So that's really cool. And then we have here, if you are somebody who is really interested in, expanding your knowledge and just being exposed to maybe new things that you don't necessarily get to learn at school, we really encourage you to check out these websites. For example, the Harvard's online learning program. They offer so many different courses. I think I might take some myself. So they offer like introduction to game development. So if you're somebody who really likes video games, I encourage you to check that course out. In the past, we've had students who've shared that they are interested in majoring in neuroscience. So this Harvard online course program also has like introductory courses to neuroscience. So if you want and are up for the challenge, I encourage you to check those out. They also offer various courses on various religions all over the world, so check those out. And then Open Culture is really cool because they offer different audiobooks, online courses, documentaries, movies, and opportunities to learn different languages. So if any of those options sound interesting to you, I encourage you to check those out. And then also we have the famous Khan Academy, which I think this is one that you might all be more familiar with. So Khan Academy, check it out if you are having any trouble, with any of your current courses. If you're struggling in any of the math courses you're taking, maybe English, visit Khan Academy to maybe strengthen some of the skills that you feel you need more practice on. And then we want to also remind you that this is a great time to prepare for the ACT and the SAT. Remember, these are test scores that are used for your college admission purposes and also for merit-based scholarships. So take the time to practice these exams during the summer and right now if you are up for it, if you have extra time right now. If you don't really know which one to take, you can check out this link here that I called to take the ACT or SAT. That is the question. There you'll be able to find out a little bit more about the differences between the two tests, and just it all depends what you prefer. So check that out to learn a little bit more, and then you can also visit these different free test prep links from Khan Academy. Again, there you'll be able to see and take different SAT practice tests. You can also check out College Board practice tests and get a better idea by completing the sample questions for the ACT. Something else that you can do during this time is to learn more about yourself. I always personally find it really interesting when I find something new about myself. So one thing you can do is take the VARC assessment, which basically will tell you what type of learner you are. It'll let you know whether you're a visual, auditory, read-write learner, or kinesthetic learner, and give you a better idea just maybe of how you can, do better in class. Also, we have the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which is an assessment used to identify different personality types. And this assessment really helps explain some of our psychological preferences, how we perceive the world, and how we make decisions. So if you're somebody who is interested in learning a little bit more about that, check those out. So we do send you guys multiple emails throughout the week about our virtual tours. So one thing you can do right now is join us while we visit different tours and give you different admission information about particular schools. And also in our last webinar, which was really cool, we had some student panels. So actual students from Dickinson College were able to answer questions that our high school students have. So that was really neat. You can also start your college search, and while you're researching, consider different majors, the campus feel, different student activities and career services that different universities offer. You can also explore different career options, learn what career paths you can take with various majors, or learn about different jobs that you can learn about different jobs and what you need to study in order to have, that particular job. During this time, you can also email or call admissions representatives if you have questions about the university. They do continue to work during this time. So I know because my friend is one of them and she is very busy right now. So email, call them. They are there ready to answer your questions. And I do want to remind you guys that it's important that you stay engaged in your classes during this time. Your grades during this time still matter. Universities will see those grades on your transcripts. So make sure that you are putting your best effort even during this time, because whether you realize it or not, those grades will be looked at in the future. And we want you guys to create a resume and complete a brag sheet if you haven't completed one already. If you need maybe templates for a resume, or you need our brag sheet, let us know. We're always ready. We always have those ready for you guys. So
work with us. The main point is we're here during this pandemic. We're all here together. We're here. Fulfillment Fund is here for you, to help you and guide you. Reach out to us, but we're here to answer any questions about college and provide you with resources related to majors and careers, helping you conduct a college list, helping you, especially the juniors who are going to begin the college application process this summer, and who maybe some of you already started, and we'll help you with personal insight questions, UC essays, and supplemental essays. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to join us right now and joining us through this webinar. I know this took some time from you, but we appreciate you participating, and it does give you points participating into our webinars. We will provide you with a more webinar list flyer after this presentation, and this is our contact information, so you can take a screenshot and you'll see the college counselors, the advisors, and Ms. Vina, the intern.